Hello guys, this is Super Sonic Step from FGC Arcadia, and I'm here to set up with you the NullDC Naomi build that's been floating around. It's been really good, but without further ado, let's get a move on. So, you will see this guide floated around. It's a really good guide created by me. But I want to credit Raptor IRC, DQRF, Taya, Jake Station, and Reaver for creating the build. All I did was bundled everything up and created a batch file to reset the saves, so desyncs happen a lot less. Also, special thanks to Mario Brother for creating the first control tool we'll be showing. So, without further ado, let's get a move on. So, I already went and downloaded the file. You can actually find the file down here, where it says Mega NZ, Mediafire. These two links right here. These two links are actually the Naomi Netplay file. You also have these files, which is just a training mode build that just runs the Dreamcast version. It doesn't have Netplay, but it's usable. So, but we'll be mainly focusing on these two files. Alright. So, I already have everything extracted. This is what the file looks like. So, when you first open it, you would want to go to NullDC Launcher MVC2. And you'll see this. Now, the first thing you would want to do is go to Select Process EXE and locate the folder. We put it in Desktop, YouTube, and instead of hitting this, you're actually looking for NullDC Win32 Release No Trace, the actual executable. You hit OK on that. You always want to set the FPS limit to 60. Then you'll come here. This is actually how you save your selection, so you don't have to keep doing the select process thing every time, because it actually resets every time you open it. So to save your configuration, you can type here at save name, let's say FFSG, save settings, refresh save list, and you see it down here, FFSG. And then if you want to load it, you click here, it should load up. So a good example would be, if I close out of this, there we go, our settings. Now we hit run with settings, launch the emulator, and before we launch the we launched the emulator, and oh, there's a problem. No controls. Where's our controls? So it's a good thing that when you first get the emulator to launch the controls. There's a reason for that, so it can create the control file, because there are 3 ways to actually launch the controls, or to get the controls set. So we'll do the first way. The first way is actually using Mario Brothers' tool that was created by him, this NullDC controller tool that can also be found in the guide. This guide will also be in the description down below. This is actually where you find the build. It's either one of these two. It's just the same thing, just mirrored. You download it over here, only 226 kilobytes. And you would actually go to QCode JAMA. And when you extract it, it should look, give me a sec. When you extract it, it should look like this. All you want to do is just extract here, yes to all, and then click on the executable. Now, if the executable doesn't launch for you, we can actually do step 2, which is a more common method too. But here you'll be asked D-pad or analog. This will be depending on if you have an analog stick, like a Xbox 360 controller, or an arcade stick. If you have an arcade stick, pick D-pad. So for me, I would type D for D-pad. So start up, and it's important when you're doing this to not hit diagonals, down, left, right. And if this pops up and then exits for you, you probably need to download .NET Framework 4.8 and other drivers too. So then we're tasked with enter button 1, which button 1 would be the top button 1, 2, and 3 would be the top row of your arcade stick. So then I didn't input anything, so I have to redo it. So button 1 would actually be the top row of your arcade stick. 1, 2, and 3 would be top row. 4, 5, and 6 would be the bottom row. So I hit D over here. Start up. Oh, I tapped twice because I hit a diagonal. So D, start up, down, left, right. Light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. Light kick, medium kick. Oh, well, see, there's an issue right there. A little glitch. I clicked too fast and it made two buttons right here. No matter, we can actually fix this in our second method. So what would happen is it would actually create your controller as a QJC file, which you could just open with Notepad over here. You always want to open these files, QJC, QKC, and CFG with a Notepad. So then, let's say, let's see if my controls work. Run with settings. And for some of you, definitely try running it and try your controller out, because there are some pre-configured controls that comes with the build. And your arcade stick might actually match what we have. So your controls might work out the box. Like if you have a Quamba Q1 or a Quamba Carbon, it's gonna work out the box. Let me actually see what else works out the box. Virtua Stick works out the box. USB joystick, Quamba joystick plus. PS3 controller, I believe, work out the box, depending on your adapter. Mayflash arcade stick and some other stuff. But definitely it'll create a setup file. So I hit start. My controls are working. So let's just pick random team. I don't really care. Turbo. Now remember, there was a weird glitch where two of my buttons here are relegated towards something. So I can actually fix that, but I'll show you how to get the second method working if your stick doesn't work. But as you can see, some parts of my stick doesn't work, but I can fix that easily. So what if this joystick input whatever didn't load up for you? How then would you get your controller to work? Well, two things. First, I need you to open one of these options. Now, actually, when you launch the emulator, there will be a notepad created that looks like your arcade stick. It should be called something different than the original that's posted. So if you actually look, you would see something like controller, gamepad, keyboard, Mayflash arcade stick, PlayStation 3 controller, Quamba joystick, blah, 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 blah. If you see something different, that's actually your arcade stick. So you want to click on that and hit edit with notepad. Open with notepad. And for me, there's already something in it. But let's say, for an example, what your controller would look like. Your controller would probably look like this. If it's something that's not in here, it will just show a bunch of nuns. Now, it's important for the movement to just get everything set up to make sure, do you have an arcade stick or not? Well, how do we know that? How do we know what are our buttons? Well, first, we'll go to control panel. There are many ways to do this. If you have Windows 10 control bar, you can just type in control panel. I don't, so I actually do a separate method. I go down, click this, right click that white space, go to properties, control panel home, hardware and sound, device and printers. See, my controller's right here. I would right click it, game controller settings, properties. Now when you look over here, you can see stuff lighting up. If things aren't lighting up on your controller side, you need to fix your controller wire or plug it into a different port, because when you move it around, you should be able to see it. So all my stuff comes out. So I would actually keep this open, and let's say I've never set it up before. What would I put? So first you would go down to up, down, left, and right, and you would type these series of inputs. You would type in HAT_0_ up, HAT_0_ down, HAT_left. Oh, forgot 0. And HAT_right. I mean 0 underscore right. Now this stuff is general movement if you're using an arcade stick, and the reason it's called HAT is because this thing over here is called point of view HAT. So remember this hat 0 up, down, left, right for your movement if you're using an arcade stick. Now, buttons is something else. You would also want to save this, but for this example, I'm not going to save this because this isn't my controller, because I actually have it up already on my controller. So now I want to test my buttons. Remember, buttons 1, 2, 3 are the top row of your arcade stick, the first 6 buttons, and 4, 5, 6 is the bottom 6 buttons. So let's check if my buttons are good. My light punch button for me is 1, which it matches up here. Remember, you're editing this side. For your controller, it would be none, or it might have something in there already. So you would just type in button _1 right here. My heavy punch button's button 4. I would just type, because it will normally be put in as none. So you would erase that and put button _4. 6. Well, I mean, that's already written here, but here's where I had the issue. So we got to figure out what's my light punch button, my light kick button. Well, that will be button 4. That's light kick. Now, what's my heavy kick button? That's button 3. I need to change that. And now, what would be my assist 2 button? That would be button 8, actually. So I would change this to button 8. Remember, if you have a none on it, erase everything and then just type in button _ whatever it is on here. So it's actually good to keep this up. Coin, I want this to be my select button. What's my select button? As you can see right here, my select button is number 9. So I would set this, erase that, and put 9. Now I need a start button. What's my start button? Button 10? Of course that works, but I don't want test to be binded. So if you see test on your notepad, just type in none. Don't edit test. If you use it online, it's going to desync immediately. All right. So we hit save, and that's method number 2. So we'll launch the emulator. Oh, it's already back here. Run with settings. And of course, we're going to test if everything works. So everything actually should work now that you edited the buttons through your notepad. Getting to your control panel and looking at that's really the hard part, so you know what your buttons are. Hit start. Take you for a ride. I could probably make a script later on that would just send you to that. But let's say just pick a bunch of other characters. Now the issue I had originally was my buttons. I didn't map them correctly, but I still showed you how to fix it or even how to add your own if that little first method didn't work. Now you have the second method. My light kick works and my assist 2 works. Now we can close out. Now, what if you have this weird Z-axis thing in your control thing, and Z-axis under and Z or axis underscore? Actually, what if you have something weird? Something really, really weird. Let's use this controller as an example. Let's say that for some reason you're getting axis Z negative and axis Z positive or whatever on your little controller thing, or you see your buttons. You could try inputting that, but usually the problem with that is either the wiring in your arcade stick is the other way around. So you either need to fix that, or you have to use our third method, which the third method is like a last resort if the other two doesn't work. I did hear that it can pose problems for Netplay. Personally, I haven't ran into any, but I do believe that it could. But if that doesn't work, if none of it works, you don't want to change the wiring, you'd have to use Joy-to-Key, which is already in the folder right here. This is last resort. Like if nothing works, if none of it works, everything I showed you just doesn't work, you'd have to use this. Now for this, you would go to QCodeJamma and look for keyboard, which is a QKC file. It's the only QKC file. open with Notepad. And now we see our stuff. Now, when you originally open your Joy to Key, this is all going to be none. But you see on the left-hand side, you just have to copy this stuff. Now, you might say, where are my inputs? So, move around on your controller. See the stuff that highlights? Let's say my movement. I double-click it. And now I set the key W because going up is W. I've already done that. Let's say down is S because S is down here. Left is A because A is right here. So pretty much you're copying the settings that are right here and mapping them to your preferred control space on your stick. Now this could pose problems. Later I'll actually address how to fix those with this. It's a quick fix, but it's not as smooth sailing as the other first two methods. So let's prove that this version, this Joy to Key method actually works. So I'll actually move my arcade stick thing out of here. I'll actually move it out of here. So we're going to run it. And I'm going to show you that it actually does work with Joy to Key. FFSG, load settings. Now this stuff, don't be intimidated. I know this video might be a tiny bit long, but trust me, it's a really easy setup. The reason the video is actually longer than it should because I'm showing all three methods and how to troubleshoot them. Trust me, the Netplay portion is very, very simple. It's very, very quick, very, very easy to fix. So we will be actually able to hit start at this point.
Marvel.
I'm able to hit start even though my thing is gone. So this is good. Absolute last case scenario. So you might notice that I'm player 2, and I'll actually show you why I was player 2. So let's just move this. Remember, this is the absolute worst case scenario. But the other two versions, the other two methods don't work.
The battle for survival begins.
So yeah, of course it's So I personally, like I said, it should be like a hierarchical system. You should definitely do Joy to Key last if absolutely nothing works. Or if you're having that Z-axis issue and you do not want to fix the wiring in your arcade stick, you would want to do that method absolutely last. Now, what's next? Great, it works offline. I got my controls working. So how do I play online? Well, there are ways to play online. You could use direct IP, but we found the most successful way of using Radman VPN. It's simple, it's quick, it gets everyone connected. Now first, you would need to go to your NullDC CFG and open this with Notepad. This is where you're actually going to do the majority of your editing. Scroll all the way down. And before we discuss, actually, we'll discuss Netplay first. If you want to enable Netplay, it's actually something as simple as enabling it. But before you do that, you would want to get Radman set up. If you don't have Radman already installed, double-click this, and it should take you to a quick Radman install, which is just to get you set up. All you guys need to do is be in a Radman room. So let's say I turn my Radman on. And let's say, I don't know, I'm the host or whatever. So now I would do host. I would set Netplay enable to 1. I would set hosting to 1. And I would set this to my IP because I'm hosting. And my IP can be right here. You just right click, copy IP. You can also see how far you are to someone else by pinging them. Right click ping. And the general ping ranges is for delay, because you can also set your delay too, which I'll actually get to that right now. 1 frame delay is good if someone is in your state or 3 states away. Maybe of a ping like 25, maybe even 30 ping, something like that. you could probably do 1 frame. Well, actually, like 20 something ping, 15 ping. That's like 1 frame delay. 30, 40, 50-ish ping, maybe even 60 ping. You could do 2 frame delay. And when you see 80 ping, like on average 80 ms for the ping, you would set that to 3 frame delay. When you see like 100, 120, 110, that's 4 frame delay. 150, 156, that is 5 frame delay. 190, 200, low 200s, that's 6 frame. 240, 250, that's 7 frame, in which you really shouldn't be playing anything past 4 frames. So generally check out other people's ping and make sure that it's around the area of 4 frames. Remember, 4 frames is like a ping of 100 to like 120. The 200 ping stuff is 7 frame delay, which is unplayable. Now, let's say this guy's kind of close. I'll set it to 2 frame delay, whatever. I'm not connecting to him now just to show how to get Netplay set up. So I have Radmin here. I've actually already edited my NullDC CFG. And I have to wait for him or something because I'm hosting. So remember, the host always has to launch the game first before the client. So I just go here, load, run with settings. Normal boot. I want to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But remember, you guys got to pick the same game. I want to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Hosting, you'll be prompted with this. Please allow both through your firewall, and also disable antiviruses because sometimes that can mess with other people coming to your connections. Allow access. And now you'll see this window. To know if the client connected, you'll see the game start up. And actually the NullDC screen will turn black and your command window will start going crazy. If you guys are having issues, it might be because one person has one parameter wrong at one point. So that might actually be the issue of why you guys wouldn't be able to connect. So if you're the client, again, let's say I'm the client of this guy, Kuma no Kaiju, in my Radmin server currently. I would just copy his IP, paste it over here, set hosting to 0, enable Netplay, and remember you must have the same delay as the host. Save, and exit out of everything, including the GUI launcher, because you need to reset the saves too. Except Radmin, you don't want to exit out of that, or Joy2Key if you have to use that. That's only if you have to. Go down to FFSG or whatever your setting is, run with. Now, if the client will actually be waiting for the host to give them the ready, and it's good to check on the host to see if their game launched too. This is actually the hard. Well, it's pretty easy. So let's say the client goes first, and the host doesn't. What happens? It'll say starting Netplay, and then it'll let you know something like connection failed because it's waiting for the host. The host should host first, and then the client comes. But yeah, that's how easy it actually is to get set up with Netplay. Now, common problems. One common problem, and this usually comes from Joy2Key people, is I can't press start. Now, the reason you can't press start, especially like if you're the host and you're using Joy2Key, the reason you cannot press start is because it's registered as Joy1 for player 1. So that's why you can't press start. You need to change something. So you would go down to QCode JAMA. You would change player 1 Joy1 to keyboard. And you would change back up to Joy1. That would actually fix that issue. Also, it's important to extract it with the Windows extractor than 7-zip and other stuff. And to just launch the files as you saw in this video. If you definitely have any concerns or questions, you could either leave a comment, or you can actually join the FGC Arcadia Discord, or email the FGC Arcadia Gmail. And I'll get back to you and definitely help you out with this. This is actually a really, really revolutionary setup, and I'm glad that you guys have actually been a part of this. It's been an amazing stuff, so thanks, guys, and I'll be ending the recording.